Mark, how much of this guy did you watch last year in your first year as an analyst? You got a lot of tape logged on him?
I mean, I've been watching him anyway, just because he's a Bama boy. So I've been watching him since he first got there. I remember when he first signed him, he was highly recruited, like number one corner coming in, and to be a mainstay at Bama for a while. And it just says a lot about the type of player he is, the type of character he has. You know what I mean? So I've been watching him for years, so it's good to see him. I think he's a first round talent, and for him to fall to second round, I think that's high value. And it's great to see him have an opportunity and be close to Bama and go to New Orleans. Where I know he's gonna be utilized the right way. So it's a good fit.
What stands out about his game?
I think just he's very instinctive. I think he can play. I think he's versatile. He can play inside. He can play outside, and he's a punt returner, very elusive as a punt returner. So I just think he's very instinctive as a football player. He has kind of those instincts that you look for. Just kind of knows, always in the right place. Kind of knows what to do, when to do it at the moment of truth in a game, which a lot of players don't have that. You know what I mean? That instinctual playmaking ability, and he has it. As a defensive back and as a punt returner as well. So it's a versatile player.
Are there any attributes or qualities that you've seen in guys like Marshawn or Paulson in the previous, that are already here in New Orleans that you have observed in Kool-Aid in terms of his prep, study, anything like that?
I think just the competitiveness. You got to kind of have an edge, especially at DB. There's nobody on that level that, at some point doesn't get beat. And you have to have a short-term memory and kind of like an edge about you just to get back in the fire and go back to work and not to let it happen again. I think he has that competitive edge, and he kind of has that dog in him, man, just like Marshawn, just like Debo, just like Alante. He's going to fit in that secondary really well. T5, you know what I mean? So all of them, man. May, all day May, I think, he's just going to fit in great with that secondary. He's going to be an asset to that secondary. He's very versatile the way you could use him. Coverage, pressures, inside, outside. I just think he's a very instinctual player. And when you have a player like that, man, that's versatile, can play all over the field, punt return, I think that just, adds value to him. He's not scared to play special teams, any of that stuff, man. So I think it's a great pick, a great fit. And, he just has that hard work. He has that dog in him, just like the rest of the secondary over there.
When you said that you think he'll be used the right way here, what makes you say that? Like, what about the system is right for him?
I think the defense is just a great defense. So when you add a good player to that defense, to that mix, I think, DA, I think they all do just a great job of putting players in position to be successful and in that defense. And, and then going to that secondary where you got Tyrann, you got May, you got Marshawn, you got Debo, you got Alante. He's got great pros to visually be able to work with. That's going to pour into him. That's going to help him. So he's going into a good situation with, players who have done it, players who have done it at a high level, who can, add to his already, that can add to him. It's great when you go to a team that has veterans that pour into you and that understand the significance of, you're only as good as your weakest link. There's some locker rooms you go into and they feel threatened, they may not help the younger players. But he's going to a place where, all those players are going to pour into him, all those players are going to help him out. And I think that's a good fit for him.
And how does his experience coming out of that Alabama defense prepare him for Dennis Allen's defense?
Well, I think they just run a plethora of coverages, a lot of adjustments to motion, to shifts, and to be able to adjust to those things on the fly is something that you had to do in the Saban defense. If you can't adjust on the fly, if you can't adjust to shifts, motions, to back motion away, all those different things, you're not going to play in that defense. And for him to be able to be a high-level starter and All-American 2 years in a row, in the Saban defense, clearly he has football knowledge, clearly he has football instincts, and clearly he's technique sound, and obviously football smart as well, because he did it in, one of the most, difficult defenses that is always running. That's what Coach Saban does. He always runs those defenses, a multitude of defenses, and he's going to get that same thing in New Orleans.
Mark, just a more general football question. Just is someone who played watching the Shanahan type offense and the shifts and the motions and the way they build the run game, as a running back, how does some of the stuff they do help a guy, that's doing your job?
One more time.
Just the Shanahan type offense with like all the motions, the shifts, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, as a running back, how do they build that running game? Like, how does it help a running back just be productive? Obviously, they brought Kubiak in, and they're going to be doing some of that here.
Yeah. I think all those things are just a way to, gain an advantage on the defense, gain leverage on the defense, get mismatches, put your team in great positions where they can get angles, and your back could press and find the seams, and that's what Alvin does a great job of. And I think in that system, with the shifts, the motions, how they line up, how they run the wide zone, things like that, I think it's just going to put them in a great position to have a great season. I think it's going to put the offense be more balanced, and in turn they'll be more effective. So looking forward to seeing how all the players pick up the new system, how they like it, and how they thrive in it.